With parent night quickly approaching, you might be feeling a lot of pressure with the million things that need to get done. You need to set up your classroom, figure out what you're going to say during parent night. You need to print out all your activities for the first week of school. It can be overwhelming to say the least. That's why it's so easy to forget something for parent night. With that being said, here are 5 things you should prepare before family night or parent night. The first thing you want to have when it comes to parent night, now, whether it's a letter or a slideshow, either way, I recommend having both depending on the format of your family night. But I recommend having a welcome letter. In this welcome letter, I recommend that you introduce yourself and talk about some things that make you accredited or capable of teaching the kids to help build that credibility with your families. So I always lead with I got my master's in elementary education from Eastern Oregon University, and I've taught for so many years at the primary level. You also want to put in some connection points, some things that will help relate your families or help build a connection with them. I love to talk about my 2 dogs, Coda and Kenai, who are named off of Brother Bear. I also like to mention how I love to travel and I'm originally from Oregon. This helps build that relation with your families and give them something to talk about when they see you next. In this welcome letter, you're also going to want to talk about how you want your families to communicate with you. Are you going to respond via email? Is there a phone number that you recommend that they call you on? Either way, giving them some way to contact you is a great thing to put on this letter. I also recommend that you put your office hours, your daily schedule, and the drop off pickup time, everything like that, so that way they know what's expected, as well as a homework schedule. The next letter I recommend is including an expectations letter. In this letter, I recommend that you put your daily schedule, the drop off and pickup times, when your students are eating, and when they can expect to get homework, what your policies are around homework, policies around snacks. That way, your families know the expectations in class and feel like they're a part of the team and they are in the loop when it comes to their child's education. The third letter I highly recommend that you send out is a contact information letter. So, in this letter, I like to send it home during that first week of school or during family night, especially, and I like to ask for my parents' communication or form of communication, their phone number, their address, all of the above. That way I can put this in a binder. That way it's easier for not only the substitutes to see, but also for myself as well. I like to do lib calls in my classroom, so having a binder with all the family communication is a lot faster to look up than looking up on the computer. In this form, I also like to ask families if the student will be a drop off or a pickup or a bus. And then also if there's any specific days that's going to be irregular. For example, a lot of students that ride the bus typically or may be a pickup for the first day of school because family members want to be there for that first day of school and be the ones to pick them up. So thinking of these ahead of time is a great thing to ask your families. That way, you know what to expect and you know where students are going. The third thing I include when it comes to a family or parent night is including a specific activity on the board that your students can do. Now, I did this 2, 3 years in a row and I absolutely loved it. What I did is I wrote a question on the board and it said, how are you feeling about the first day of school? And I did a post-it note. I put a post-it note on each student's desk. I set up their desks ahead of time. That way, during family night, the students had something to fill out. Now, this was kind of used several ways. It was a way to have an open discussion with the class about how they were feeling or with that student ahead of time so I can set them at ease or tell them some exciting things happening. But it was also a great way to have a conversation during that first day of school about how we're feeling at the beginning of the day. And then we could reflect at the end of the day on how it went. I also like watching the students as they fill out the sticky note because it lets me kind of get a pre assessment of what skills my students are coming in with. The other thing I recommend that you include during parent night is a school calendar. I don't know about you, but I print about 5 of these, and I know that families can use an extra copy. So make sure to print out your school calendar and give it to them. Your families will be grateful. In fact, mine always thanked me for the extra copy. The next thing I recommend that you send out is parent involvement or volunteer forms. So, depending on your district, your families might need to fill out a specific form or survey if they are wanting to be a volunteer in your classroom. Or if you have a specific field trip or party or celebration coming up, you can always have them sign up now for what they're going to bring or if they want to be a chaperone or not. Seeing them in person is a great way to get this done. That way, you're not trying to track them later during the school year when things are extra busy. This is kind of a bonus thing that I recommend you include during family night, and that is a supplies list. Depending on your district might send out a supplies list on what your students are expected to bring during the first week of school. If your families haven't already printed this out and bought their schools or their student supplies, you can do this for them and it'll save them the hassle of trying to track it down. I include all of the things I mentioned, minus the post-it note on the board, in a folder for them to take home. Typically, I do a Monday folder, which is a red folder. So during family night, I just explain that this will be their future homework folder, and I put all the forms in there to send home for them to sign and return on the first day of school. Or they can always fill it out there. That's kind of just a personal choice. And there you have it. Those were the family or parent night recommendations I have that you prepare ahead of time when it comes to parent communication. If you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you can like and subscribe so it can reach even more teachers and help them plan and figure out what to bring during parent night. If you have more questions about teaching at the elementary level, I highly recommend you download this Ultimate Elementary Teacher Answer Guide, where I answer the top 10 questions I get about teaching elementary grade levels as a new teacher. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time, Teacher Bestie. Bye.